I want to touch on the story of Job. I'm going to touch on the story of Solomon. And I'm going to touch on the story of jealousy and envy. Okay. Alright, let me start with Job real quick, right? Um, the story of Job is basically a conversation he's having with, and I didn't even know that. I didn't know that Job wasn't Hebrew. He was a non-Hebrew, but he was a righteous man by God. And all the participants in the story was also of non-Hebrew. Um, they had Hebrew names, but they were non-Hebrew men. Um, and it's kind of confusing because it's supposed to be like why God lets us suffer. You know what I mean? And and you could tell that he definitely got frustrated with God. Cause I was frustrated with God. Anybody would be frustrated with God and so on. And to the end, he ended up repenting and stuff because in that and so on, it was so complex. It's like, hey, the world is so mass. You know what I mean? Like you are just one. Your earth is just a small, tiny fraction to what I have to manage. You know what I mean? Your life is just one tiny fraction of what I got to manage. You know what I mean? Um, but I want to say this real quick, right? As the story went on and so on, the argument between Job and these three guys, the three guys probably saying Job is misunderstanding what's going on. Job is getting frustrated because he's trying to like show these three guys that they misunderstanding what's going on. And in the ending that God ended up siding with Job because he said like Job understand was clear. I want to say this real quick, right? Both the three men and Job was correct. Okay, as long as they God is your conscience. Okay, the reason why nobody cannot hear your conversation with God because it's telepathically. Think about it. Telepathically, that's your conscience. That's your spirit. Your existence is your body, soul, spirit. Okay. I was kind of confused for a second because I was like, man, like, because I know for a fact when I left my body, like when that spirit came out and I left my body, a bigger spirit came back. You know what I mean? Because this spirit took me for a ride, took me time traveling. You know what I mean? And it was no talking. Everything was just telecommunicated. You know what I mean? And now your conscience. You know what I mean? All right. So your conscience is gonna typically be biased to you. You know what I'm saying? As long as it is the right reason. Like sometimes with my wife and so on, I know I'm wrong, but when my wife used the proper reasoning, I buy into her logic. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the beautiful thing about a human being. No matter how biased we are, as long as somebody using the proper reasoning and so on, they could convince us. That's mind control. Mind control is proper persuasion using logic. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Solomon for a second, right? Remember, Solomon was the wisest man, and coming down to his last years and stuff, they will say he will be mumbling a whole bunch of rubbish that doesn't make any sense. Nah, Solomon was talking some stuff. It's just at that point it was over the primitive indigenous minds. You know what I mean? Because at times, me going through this whole ordeal and stuff, man, I was trying to tell folks um, about the existence of their heart attack devices and stuff, and it was like, I never heard stuff like that. And I mean, so I tried to make sense out of it. I was like, okay, Think about it for a second. And I mean, circuitry, your heart uses circuitry, you know what I mean, blah, 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 EMF. Um, with the EMF gun, they could make your light bulb not work and so on. You don't think they could do that to your body? They don't think you could do that to your head? You know what I mean? Doesn't your brain use circuitry? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I know at that point I was over the head. You know what I'm saying, you know. Um, so and it makes sense when stuff is new to people and you don't have evidence about it and stuff, and even though it's logical to them, you know what I mean, it will still be illogical because they're like, where's your proof at? Where's your proof at? And I'm saying you just talking like Solomon and so on to us too. You know what I mean? um Three, I want to talk about jealousy and envy. um You ever sit and watch women on the catwalk walk? You know what I mean? Like you're watching them like it's a fashion week and so on. Everybody is just sitting and walk and they slip and fall. Okay, everybody's watching them and they slip and fall. That's generally how envy and jealousy work. Okay. Um, Growing up in Trinidad, there's an incident, man. Uh, it would have been somewhere between junior sec and high school. So somewhere between middle school and high school. Um, One of my friends, man, was eating a mango. You know what I mean? And he's enjoying it and stuff, man. And I'm saying, and I see him eating it and so on. But everybody in the classroom also was looking at him. You know what I mean? So what happened when he was about to take his second or third bite? The mango fell out of his hand and fell on the floor, and he was mad. He looked at the classroom and like, um, why the f is everybody watching me? And I'm like, nigga, we got eyes. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with you? You know, that's a black magic. Jealousy and envy is like a black magic. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the first time that happened. You know what I'm saying? Um, so like when people are in a fashion, like models and stuff walking, and people are jealous and envy of them and so on, they're gonna fall. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's just it's like life. It's part of life. You know what I mean? So coming back to Job, that's why God puts us through that. It's not him. I mean, he's the earth and the fullness thereof, but it's not him consciously doing that to us. You know what I mean? He's not making us suffer. You know what I mean? It's just okay. You know what? Another thing too. I cannot like what Job said was right by him. What those three guys said in the in the story of Job was also right. What I'm saying too is right, but this is for me. This is like so at the same time too. The reason why it's right by Job because that's his conscience and that's his message from God communicating to him. The reason why those three guys was right, okay, because pay attention to the reason and so on that they used because one of them talked about how um if God is doing this to you, curse your God. Not right about that, but he came back around and he said like maybe it's something you did bad, blah 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 blah, and they're trying to use logic. You know what I mean? Generally, you have to reflect. I mean, if you know you're right, even though like because the Bible did say he was righteous, he was a righteous man and so on, but sometimes in righteousness, you still got to reflect and see what you're going through and stuff because you got to use logic. You know what I mean? Um, uh, but the logic of man is not the same logic of God too. You know what I'm saying? But it will basically you got to use your reasoning, and it will be revealed to you. You know what I'm saying? Um, but anyway, let me make my point real quick. And this may not fit anybody else, okay? But this is one thing everybody will agree on me on, okay? Um, when you create attention for yourself and so on, you know what I mean? You know, flashy lights, jewels, a beautiful wife, you know what I mean? Um, Nice cars. I get it. My car's not no Rolls Royce and so on, but I just kept it up that people liked it and so on. You know what I mean? Um, it's like me walking Fashion Week on a runway and everybody watching me. They're not really watching for me to fall, but if I fall, they're gonna laugh. You know what I mean? So really and truly, people get satisfaction when people falling, and people because when that guy was eating that mango and it dropped, I laughed, but I laughed at his response. And I mean, his interpretation is like, you guys laugh because you wanted me to fall, they wanted me to be in pain and so on. Um, both sides are right, and I mean, there's no wrong there. And I'm saying, because when somebody's cocky, you know what I mean, look at Adrian Broner, the boxer. Like when somebody is cocky and stuff, don't you sometimes want them to like suffer, not suffer like fall? You know what I mean? So it's kind of one. I promise you, I'm not cocky and stuff, right? They misinterpret it as that. But regardless of what, okay, they was looking at me so hard that by me falling, it put satisfaction into their life, and that's why the Bible say a rich man cannot go into heaven, because there's so much of jealousy in this earth that will drag him down. You know what I mean? Because what it comes back to, we are our own peers when it comes to Judgment Day. You know what I'm saying? Because God is the earth and the fullness thereof. Every one of us, or every one of our energies goes back with God, and we are judged. So basically, we begin judged by our own selves. That's deep. You know what I mean? That's really, really deep, man. The sheriff officer said to me, um, so much time going by. No, but you did can't come off kind of cocky. You know what I mean? He thought I was cocky. I promise you, man. I promise you, they thought I was cocky. I mean, I always remember this too, right? The same way a cop will approach the scene and be stern and authoritative, why can't why can't I be stern and authoritative when I'm talking to cops or I'm talking to people, especially about my rights and stuff? Because I learn when it comes to your right, if you act scared, they take advantage of you. You know, it's past and gone. You know what I mean? I want to move forward, man. I want to move forward. So I was envied and I was jealous of my. And I was told in the Christian walk, man, like, it's okay if they're jealous of you. It's okay if they're envious of you. Just don't deviate from your path. Because God loves you so much, He will keep blessing you. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. God loves you so much, He's gonna keep blessing you that you're gonna have other people jealous and envy of you. I don't want no jealousy and envy, man. I don't want nobody jealous and envy of me. I have nothing. I mean, like, I don't have no legacy. Like everybody getting to leave a legacy behind. Go hitting supervisory slots and so on. And I mean, hitting, um, you know, helping other people out and stuff. I mean, I'm helping other people out, but I'm not helping anybody with a career. You know what I mean? But yeah, my uncle was jealous of me. I mean, talked about like he wanted to fuck my wife and shit. And my jewels and stuff. Yeah, my other friends. And, oh man, you know what? I didn't even. I'm gonna post it. I, I'm done.